All right, let's talk about that moment. You know the one. You're crushing it in your workout, you're hitting your goals, you feel like you're on top of the world. And then, bam, it hits you.
It's like someone literally just unplugged you from the wall. You don't just feel tired, you feel empty, hollowed out. You, my friend, have just bonked hard. It's that feeling of hitting a complete nutritional wall. And you know what? It happens when we let our enthusiasm get ahead of the actual science.
But today, we are going to cut through all of that noise and confusion. We are doing a deep dive into the ultimate fuel guide. We're going to get into the science of what you're eating so you can stay fueled, stay strong, and hopefully never have that total energy collapse ever again.
Across the whole planet, humans eat on average between 1 and 2.7 kilograms of food a day. That's over 365 kilograms a year per person, and more than 28,800 kilograms over the course of a lifetime. And every last scrap makes its way through the digestive system. Comprised of 10 organs, covering 9 meters, and containing over 20 specialized cell types, this is one of the most diverse and complicated systems in the human body. Its parts continuously work in unison to fulfill a singular task, transforming the raw materials of your food into the nutrients and energy that keep you alive. Spanning the entire length of your torso, the digestive system has 4 main components. First, there's the gastrointestinal tract, a twisting channel that transports your food and has an internal surface area of between 30 and 40 square meters, enough to cover half a badminton court. Second, there's the pancreas, gallbladder, and liver, a trio of organs that break down food using an array of special juices. Third, the body's enzymes, hormones, nerves, and blood all work together to break down food, modulate the digestive process, and deliver its final products. Finally, there's the mesentery, a large stretch of tissue that supports and positions all your digestive organs in the abdomen, enabling them to do their jobs. The digestive process begins before food even hits your tongue. Anticipating a tasty morsel, glands in your mouth start to pump out saliva. We produce about 1.5 liters of this liquid each day. Once inside your mouth, chewing combines with the sloshing saliva to turn food into a moist lump called the bolus. Enzymes present in the saliva break down any starch. Then your food finds itself at the rim of a 25-centimeter long tube called the esophagus, down which it must plunge to reach the stomach. Nerves in the surrounding esophageal tissue sense the bolus's presence and trigger peristalsis, a series of defined muscular contractions. That propels the food into the stomach, where it's left at the mercy of the muscular stomach walls, which pound the bolus, breaking it into chunks. Hormones secreted by cells in the lining trigger the release of acids and enzyme-rich juices from the stomach wall that start to dissolve the food and break down its proteins. These hormones also alert the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to produce digestive juices and transfer bile, a yellowish-green liquid that digests fat, in preparation for the next stage. After 3 hours inside the stomach, the once shapely bolus is now a frothy liquid called chyme, and it's ready to move into the small intestine. The liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which secretes it into the first portion of the small intestine, called the duodenum. Here, it dissolves the fats floating in the slurry of chyme so they can be easily digested by the pancreatic and intestinal juices that have leached onto the scene. These enzyme-rich juices break the fat molecules down into fatty acids and glycerol for easier absorption into the body. The enzymes also carry out the final deconstruction of proteins into amino acids and carbohydrates into glucose. This happens in the small intestine's lower regions, the jejunum and ileum, which are coated in millions of tiny projections called villi. These create a huge surface area to maximize molecule absorption and transference into the bloodstream. The blood takes them on the final leg of their journey to feed the body's organs and tissues. But it's not over quite yet. Leftover fiber, water, and dead cells sloughed off during digestion make it into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body drains out most of the remaining fluid through the intestinal wall. What's left is a soft mass called stool. The colon squeezes this byproduct into a pouch called the rectum, where nerves sense it expanding and tell the body when it's time to expel the waste. The byproducts of digestion exit through the anus, and the food's long journey, typically lasting between 30 and 40 hours, is finally complete.
Okay, so let's maybe lay some groundwork first. Nutrition. It isn't just about food itself, right? It's actually the science of the specific substances in that food that are, well, essential for life.
Okay.
Everything we eat, pretty much, it serves three main functions. 3 core jobs, no cap.
The big 3. Okay, this sounds like essential knowledge for anyone trying to optimize things.
Right.
Lay it on us.
All right. Number 1, growth, repair, and maintenance of all your tissues. That's kind of the building for
Yeah, the building blocks.
2, regulation of all the complex body processes, keeping everything running smoothly. And 3, the one we're really going to focus on today, the production of usable energy, the fuel.
Okay, the energy piece.
So why should you even care about the science behind your lunch? Because honestly, good nutrition is the foundation of your entire well-being. Think of it like the invisible scaffolding that holds up everything you do. And yeah, it's not just about how you feel on the inside. You can literally eat your way to a glow-up.
If you sucked all of the moisture out of your brain and broke it down to its constituent nutritional content, what would it look like? Most of the weight of your dehydrated brain would come from fats, also known as lipids. In the remaining brain matter, you would find proteins and amino acids, traces of micronutrients, and glucose. The brain is, of course, more than just the sum of its nutritional parts, but each component does have a distinct impact on functioning, development, mood, and energy. So that post-lunch apathy or late-night alertness you might be feeling, well, that could simply be the effects of food on your brain. Of the fats in your brain, the superstars are omegas 3 and 6. These essential fatty acids, which have been linked to preventing degenerative brain conditions, must come from our diets. So eating omega-rich foods like nuts, seeds, and fatty fish is crucial to the creation and maintenance of cell membranes. And while omegas are good fats for your brain, long-term consumption of other fats, like trans and saturated fats, may compromise brain health. Meanwhile, proteins and amino acids, the building block nutrients of growth and development, manipulate how we feel and behave. Amino acids contain the precursors to neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that carry signals between neurons, affecting things like mood, sleep, attentiveness, and weight. They're one of the reasons we might feel calm after eating a large plate of pasta, or more alert after a protein-rich meal. The complex combinations of compounds in food can stimulate brain cells to release mood-altering norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. But getting to your brain cells is tricky, and amino acids have to compete for limited access. A diet with a range of foods helps maintain a balanced combination of brain messengers and keeps your mood from getting skewed in one direction or the other. Like the other organs in our bodies, our brains also benefit from a steady supply of micronutrients. Antioxidants in fruits and vegetables strengthen the brain to fight off free radicals that destroy brain cells, enabling your brain to work well for a longer period of time. And without powerful micronutrients like the vitamins B6, B12, and folic acid, our brains would be susceptible to brain disease and mental decline. Trace amounts of the minerals iron, copper, zinc, and sodium are also fundamental to brain health and early cognitive development. In order for the brain to efficiently transform and synthesize these valuable nutrients, it needs fuel, and lots of it. While the human brain only makes up about 2% of our body weight, it uses up to 20% of our energy resources. Most of this energy comes from carbohydrates that our body digests into glucose, or blood sugar. The frontal lobes are so sensitive to drops in glucose, in fact, that a change in mental function is one of the primary signals of nutrient deficiency. Assuming that we are getting glucose regularly, how does the specific type of carbohydrates we eat affect our brains? Carbs come in three forms: starch, sugar, and fiber. While on most nutrition labels, they are all lumped into one total carb count, the ratio of the sugar and fiber subgroups to the whole amount affect how the body and brain respond. A high glycemic food, like white bread, causes a rapid release of glucose into the blood, and then comes the dip. Blood sugar shoots down, and with it, our attention span and mood. On the other hand, oats, grains, and legumes have slower glucose release, enabling a steadier level of attentiveness. For sustained brain power, opting for a varied diet of nutrient-rich foods is critical. When it comes to what you bite, chew, and swallow, your choices have a direct and long-lasting effect on the most powerful organ in your body.
We're talking clearer skin, shinier hair, and all that internal stability. It translates to way better emotional resilience and, yes, better sleep.
And that flow, it all comes down to nutrients. These are the specific chemical bits in food that are necessary for good health. And we usually group these into 6 main categories.
Okay, what are they?
Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Those are the big 3 we'll focus on, but also vitamins, minerals, and water, all essential.
Right. So when we talk about what we eat the most of, we often hear macros versus micros. What's the quick difference for someone trying to get their head around this?
Yeah, good question. So macronutrients, that's your carbs, fats, and protein, they're kind of the bulk fuel. They're absorbable. And really importantly, they provide the body with energy. We measure that in kilocalories or kcals. They're the raw materials, basically.
Okay, macros are the resources, the fuel logs. What about the micros then?
So the micros, that's your vitamins, minerals, and water. They're more like the regulators. Think of them maybe as the traffic police or the supervisors on the job site. They don't provide energy themselves, like 0 nickels from them, but they are absolutely critical because they allow your body to actually process those big macronutrients into energy your cells can use. Without them, the macros are kind of useless.
Gotcha. So you need both working together.
And it all comes down to these things called macronutrients. Basically, they're the parts of food that give your body energy. We're talking about the big 3: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So, you ready? Let's dive into this. It's time to crack the code.
Let's start with the king, carbohydrates. These are your body's #1, top-of-the-list, go-to fuel source. When your body needs energy right now, it's looking for carbs first. And get this, they're also essential for burning fat efficiently. Yeah, you actually need carbs to burn fat. Wild, right?
And here's the first number in our secret code: 4. 1 gram of carbs gives you 4 kilocalories of energy. Now, don't get hung up on kilocalories. It's just the sciencey term for the calories we all know. But here's the really crucial part. Carbs break down into glucose. And your brain, well, your brain only runs on glucose. Without enough, your brain literally slows down. That's a huge piece of the bonk puzzle right there.
And where do we find these crucial carbs?
Mostly, plants are your source. Grains, vegetables, fruits, nuts, even sugars. But it's worth noting, the only major animal source of carbs is milk, specifically the sugar in milk, which is lactose.
Interesting. Okay, so carbs are 4 kilogram primary fuel, crucial for the brain.
Okay, next up, fats, or lipids if you want to get fancy. So if carbs are your quick access fuel, fats are the long-haul energy source. Think of it like a slow-burning log in a fire. Plus, they do other super important jobs like protecting your organs, keeping you warm, and carrying certain vitamins around your body.
And this is where the energy gain completely changes. 1 gram of fat provides a whopping 9 kilocalories of energy. That is more than double the energy you get from carbs or protein. This is why it's such an amazing long-term fuel, but it's also why your body doesn't grab it first when it needs a quick burst.
And while your body can make many types of fatty acids it needs, there are 2 specific types we absolutely must get from our food. We call these the essential fatty acids.
Essential means we got to eat them.
Gotta eat them. Your body can't make them from scratch. They are linoleic acid, which is an omega-6 fatty acid, and linolenic acid, an omega-3. Heard of those?
Omega-3s and 6s, yeah.
Yeah.
Fish oil and stuff.
Exactly. So they have to be on your plate, basically.
And where do we get fats? Both good and bad.
You get them from both animal and plant sources. Animal sources include things like fatty cuts of meat, dairy products, egg yolks. Plant sources are things like cooking oils, nuts, seeds, avocados, even coconut.
Right.
And the source really matters when you're trying to hit those AHA goals, especially the saturated fat limit. Plant fats tend to be unsaturated, animal fats often higher in saturated.
Makes sense.
And finally, let's talk about protein. Now, protein can be used for energy, sure, but that is so not its main gig. Protein's #1 job is being the master builder. It is the raw material for constructing and repairing pretty much everything in your body. We're talking muscles, skin, hair, you name it.
Protein gives you the same energy as carbs. 1 gram gets you 4 calories. And that completes our code. 494. 4 for carbs, 9 for fats, 4 for protein. But I want you to remember this. Using protein for energy is like using expensive mahogany to start a campfire. I mean, it'll burn, but you're wasting its true, incredible potential.
Okay, reality check time. Look at these charts. The American Heart Association recommends that fats make up 30% or less of your total calories. But the typical American diet, it often blows right past that, landing somewhere over 40%. And when that happens, that imbalance can start pushing out the leaner proteins and those really important complex carbs your body needs.
All right, so you've got the 494 code down. Awesome. But how your body uses that protein is way more complicated than just hitting a number on an app. And this brings us to a huge aha moment, a concept that honestly changes everything. It's called the all or none rule.
Have you ever wondered this? You're eating all this chicken and drinking all these shakes, but are you actually getting those muscle-building benefits you're working so hard for? It feels like it's being wasted. And you know what? Your body might actually be doing just that for a very specific reason. And this slide explains exactly why. It's the all or none rule. See, to build muscle or any protein structure, your body needs all the required amino acid building blocks to be there at the exact same time. It's like building with Legos. If the instructions call for a blue brick and you don't have one, you can't finish the project. The whole process just stops cold.
So what happens to all those other Legos, amino acids, if one is missing? Well, the body doesn't just save them for later. Nope. Instead, they get broken down and just burned for energy. That's right. You could eat a ton of protein, but if that amino acid profile isn't complete right when your body needs to build, a big chunk of it just gets wasted on fuel instead of muscle.
So, the million-dollar question is, how do you stop this from happening? Simple. You have to spare your protein. See, your body will always prioritize its immediate energy needs over anything else. If you haven't eaten enough carbs or fats, your body gets desperate and starts raiding your protein stores for fuel. And that, my friends, is a one-way ticket to Bonk City. The solution? Eat enough carbs and fats to cover all your energy needs. That frees up your protein to do its real job, build and repair.
And sources. Where do we get the best protein?
Generally, animal sources provide the highest quality protein, things like meat, fish, poultry, eggs, milk. Highest quality usually means they contain all the essential amino acids, the building blocks, in good proportions.
Okay, animal sources are complete. What about plants?
Plant sources like corn, grains, nuts, legumes, beans, they absolutely provide protein, but it's often considered lower quality. That just means a single plant source might be low in or missing one or more of those essential amino acids.
So you need to mix and match plant proteins.
Exactly. You need to combine different plant sources throughout the day to make sure you get the full set of essential amino acids, like beans and rice, for example.
That was a lot of science. But understanding that whole protein sparing thing is the secret to the entire playbook. You now know why the bonk happens. So let's switch gears from the why to the how. Let's actually build a plan to stop it.
Let's take a quick brain break here and make this real for you. We're going to do a little macro challenge to connect all that 494 science directly to what's on your plate.
Okay, here's your mission should you choose to accept it. First, just Google macro calculator. Easy. Second, plug in your info, your age, height, how active you are, and your goals. Third, see what it spits out for your personal daily budget of carbs, fat, and protein. And finally, this is the most important step, try to map out a sample menu for one day that actually hits those numbers. It's an eye-opener to see how it all plays out with actual food. And to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Let's go back to that AHA warning about fat. The specific goal is to keep saturated fat to 10% or less of your total calories. So take a really honest look at what you eat. What's one tiny, simple change you could make, like today? Maybe it's swapping butter for olive oil when you cook, or maybe trading one red meat meal for fish this week. Just think about that one small change, remember the 494 code, and start making every single nutrient count.